Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international seminar on occasion of World Mental Health Day. We request everyone to quickly fill up the registration form, which has been shared in the form of polls in Zoom platform to mark your attendance. And we'll be also sharing feedback form at the end of the session. It is mandatory as the data collected from these registration and feedback forms mark your attendance as well as is used for generating your certificates. So fill all the details correctly so that your certificates can be automatically generated. We'll be starting session in a minute. And those who have registered for presentations are requested to share your details in the chat box. After commemorations, we'll be inviting one by one as per the order, message order received in the chat box on first come, first serve basis. Kindly leave your topic, name, designation, organization, and the place from where you are joining, along with the duration of your session or presentation. You can select host or co-host and share your details in chat box. This is only for the presenters. Participants can just fill the feedback form as well as registration forms. That would be enough. Request all the presenters who have registered for presentations to share your details all in one message, your topic, your name, designation, organization, and the place from where you are, along with the duration of your presentation. It should not exceed 5 to 10 minutes unless and until it's a technical or scientific presentation. You can share it in chat box. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international seminar on World Mental Health Day, Mental Health in Humanitarian Emergencies, Health and Sustainable Development 2025, on occasion of World Mental Health Day 2025. As part of International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing, and all the collaborators, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat in 2047, and also World Mental Health Day 2025 as part of awareness and campaigns. So before we start today's sessions, celebrations and commemorations, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. And we'll also, after commemorations and celebrations, we'll be continuing with the presentations. So the presenters who have registered themselves for presentations can share their details in the chat box. Once the commemorations are done, we'll be inviting you for your presentations. So today, as we all know, today, 10th October is celebrated as World Mental Health Day. The overall objective of this World Mental Health Day is to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and to mobilize efforts in support of mental health. The day provides an opportunity for all stakeholders working in mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make a mental health care a reality for people worldwide. Today, on occasion of World Mental Health Day, 10th October, World Health Organization and also World Foundation for Mental Health, both are promoting this World Mental Health Day, and both have different themes which are also similar to each other. World Health Organization has set the theme for World Mental Health Day as Mental Health in Humanitarian Age Emergencies, and World Foundation for Mental Health has set the theme Access to Services, Mental Health in Catastrophes and Emergencies. In a broad sense, both refer to same, though there are differences. So first we look at World Health Organization, which serves as a powerful reminder on this occasion that there is no health without mental health. This year's campaign focuses on the urgent need to support the mental health and psychosocial needs of people affected by humanitarian emergencies. Crises such as natural disasters, conflicts, and public health emergencies cause emotional distress, with 1 in 5 individuals experiencing a mental health condition. Supporting the mental well-being of individuals during such crisis is not just important, it saves lives, gives people the strength to cope, the space to heal, and to recover and rebuild, not only as individuals, but as communities. That's why it is essential for everyone, including government officials, health and social care providers, school staff, and community groups, to come together by working hand in hand. We can ensure the most vulnerable have access to the support they need while protecting the well being of everyone. By investing in evidence and community based interventions, we can address immediate mental health needs and foster long term recovery and empower people and communities to rebuild their lives and thrive. On this World Mental Health Day, let us intensify our efforts to create a world where mental health is valued, protected, and accessible for all, especially in the face of adversity. Mental health and psychosocial support are essential during the crisis. Nearly everyone experiences distress and social disruption. Homes are lost, families are separated, communities are fractured. While 1 in 5 people may have a mental health condition, nearly everyone affected experiences emotional distress and disrupted community ties. These impacts often remain long after physical safety is restored, undermining recovery and resilience. People with significant mental health conditions must not be left without care and support. Continuity of care is a priority during and following any emergency. Migrants and refugees face multiple stressors throughout their journey, from conflict and displacement to dangerous journeys and to integration challenges in host countries. By the end of 2024, over 123 million people were forcibly displaced worldwide. A staggering 71% of them are hosted in low and middle income countries where healthcare systems are already under strain. In these settings, access to mental health services is extremely limited. So, on this occasion, there are few key messages. Mental health in emergencies, conflicts, disasters, and health emergencies take a heavy toll on mental health. Around 1 in 5 people in conflict affected areas are estimated to have mental health condition. Experiencing fear, anxiety, or sadness in such circumstances, which is a normal reaction to very stressful events. Mental health is essential for rebuilding lives. Beyond food, water, and medicine, survivors are also needing mental health and psychosocial support to cope, recover, and rebuild. Integrating mental health strengthens emergency response, making mental health and psychosocial support a core part of the emergency response. Not only saves lives, but also strengthens communities and health systems for the future. Investing in mental health is investing in recovery. Investing in mental health and psychosocial support helps families, communities, and economies recover from crisis, building long-term resilience and shape stronger health systems. Mental health care saves lives. The Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Minimum Service Package offers proven solutions in emergencies, ensuring timely coordinated care that reduces suffering, strengthens well-being, and builds more inclusive responses. Inclusive support must reach children, older people, persons with disabilities, refugees, and people with pre-existing mental health conditions, including those in situations addressing barriers such as stigma, discrimination, caste, and language is essential. Protect the mental health. Prioritize your mental health by staying connected, being physically active, and following routines. Minimize alcohol use, engage in meaningful and enjoyable activities, seek support from trusted friends, family, or health professionals, promoting mental well-being through various approaches, a layered approach from self-help tools and psychological first aid to specialized mental health services ensure accessible, efficient, and response support for all, protect well-being of humanitarian workers. Humanitarian workers face extreme stress and are often directly affected by the crisis. The response to the organization should provide rest, supervision, peer support, and workspace, mental health programs to sustain an effective humanitarian response. When looking at mental health in emergencies, almost all people affected by emergencies experience psychological distress, which typically improves over time. 1 in 5 people, that is 22%, experience psychological trauma and need psychological help. Have you faced any distress situation in your lifetime? We all might have faced such a situation, right? Like disasters, crisis situation, trauma situation, a loss of some loved ones, or, no, we can't say there are no natural disasters. All are human disasters, because everything, whatever disaster it is happening, it is due to human beings only. So all the natural disasters have become human disasters now. So flooding or feminines, all are because of human induced climate change disasters, right? We are disturbing the nature and environment. So it has become day in, day out. We have to face the crisis which we have created. And that's going to be a never ending, because we are never learning a lesson, and we are still continue to abuse nature and environment. And that impacts us in the form of climate change. So that will become a norm. Now there is a great demand for psychologists, counselors, psychiatrists, not for others, but for themselves itself. There is a different situation now. Even mental health professionals are committing suicide. Even mental health professionals are undergoing severe crisis, and they are also having lot of mental disorders. Now, this is a typical situation now today's. I have seen personally also. I know few mental health professionals who have committed suicide, or who have, you know, are struggling with their mental health. So mental health, is not just for anyone, it's for everyone, including mental health professionals and also health professionals, including doctors or teachers, scientists, whoever it may be. Everyone requires support, mental health support. Earlier there was a different situations. We had joint families where we were socialized in a very systematic way, formally and informally, right? We had a space, we had privacy, confidentiality, and at the same time, we had our individual spaces. But now, things have changed. There are no longer joint families. Even if they are joint families, they are distanced by geographical area. And with more and more technological advancements, today, what we see, we are even disconnected within being physical, within the same geographical area also. We are highly disconnected. Why? Because we are more engaged with gadgets rather than with people, right? So in that case, now what is happening? When we are disconnected to each other, the more psychological issues come up because we have to face day in and day out the reality of the world. We need to keep working in groups, teams. Teamwork is very much important. When it comes to teamwork, time management, priority management, resource management, turn taking, and appreciating, which becomes crucial. Cooperation. First thing is we need to cooperate with each other. Next thing is collaboration. We need to collaborate with each other. And what else? We need to appreciate each other. Wherever required, we need to appreciate. And we need to support. We need to stand by each other as a support system. So all these plays a crucial role. Now today, when we are talking about World Mental Health Day, and especially in terms of emergencies, especially in terms of emergencies like disasters, this what we were discussing is in a common situation. In common situation itself, if it can take a toll on mental health and well-being, just imagine in times of crisis where there is a huge demand for resources, and that too resources are limited, and within that limited resources, rationing happens. Some might even not get bare minimum facilities. And apart from that, various factors like loss of life, loss of property, displacement, and the different kind of settings they are into rehabilitation camps or temporary shelters, completely displaced from where they are, even if it is a temporary solution, but still they have to face this trauma. So 1 in 5 people, that is 22%, who have experienced war or conflict in the past 10 years have depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia. Emergencies significantly disrupt mental health services and reduce the availability of quality care. People with severe mental health conditions are especially vulnerable during emergencies and need access to mental health care and other basic needs. So every year, millions of people are affected by emergencies such as armed conflicts and natural disasters. These crises disrupt families, livelihoods, and essential services and significantly impact mental health. Nearly all those affected experience psychological distress. A minority go on to develop mental health condition such as depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. Emergencies can worsen mental health conditions and social issues such as poverty and discrimination. They can also contribute to new problems such as family separation and harmful substance use. And international guidelines recommend various activities for providing mental health and psychosocial support, in short known as MHPSS, during emergencies, ranging from community self-help and communications to psychological first aid and clinical mental health care. Preparedness and integration with disaster risk reduction are essential to mitigate impacts. Countries can also use emergencies as opportunities to invest in mental health, leveraging the increased aid and attention they receive to develop better care systems for the long term. So problems include social problems pre-existing, including poverty and discrimination against marginal groups, emergency induced, including family separation, lack of safety, loss of livelihoods, disrupted social networks, low trust and reduced resources, and humanitarian response induced, including overcrowding, lack of privacy, and undermining of community support. So mental health problems include pre-existing, including mental health conditions such as depression, schizophrenia, or harmful use of alcohol and other substances. An emergency induced, including grief, acute stress reactions, harmful use of substances, depression, anxiety, and post traumatic stress disorder, and so on. And humanitarian response induced, like including anxiety from lack of resources, lack of information about how to get food or access basic services, and also uncertainty that prevails in the situation, problems obtaining mental health services, pre-existing including limited access to quality, affordable mental health care, emergency induced including damage to facilities, staff shortages, disrupted medical supply chains, and surges in demand that overwhelm existing infrastructure. Humanitarian response induced include lack of coordination and insufficient training for emergency responders. Most people affected by the emergencies experience feelings of anxiety, sadness, hopelessness, sleep issues, fatigue, irritability, anger, or aches. This psychological distress usually improves over time, but some people go on to develop a mental health condition. An estimated 22% may have depression, anxiety, post traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia. An estimated 13% of conflict affected populations have mild forms of depression, anxiety, and post traumatic stress disorder, while moderate or severe mental disorders affect 9%. In conflict affected settings, depression increases with age and is more common in women. People with severe conditions are especially vulnerable during and after emergencies and need access to basic needs and clinical care. International guidelines on MHPSS recommend several actions to effectively prepare and respond to emergencies. Include MHPSS in all sectoral emergency preparedness plans, including hazard and vulnerability assessments, capacity building plans, coordination mechanisms, and contingency plans. Establish a cross-sectorial MHPSS technical working group to coordinate activities in line with global guidelines, strengthen community self-help and social supporters, ensuring the involvement of vulnerable groups, including people with mental health conditions, orient frontline workers in psychological first aid to provide emotional and practical support to people experiencing acute distress, and also share key messages and service information to encourage positive coping and help seeking. Other clinical mental health care for priority conditions at general health facilities using trained and supervised staff and evidence-based protocols such as MHGAP, Humanitarian Intervention Guide, in short known as MHGAP-HIG, provide evidence-based psychological interventions for people impaired for prolonged distress. These should be provided by specialists or trained and supervised community workers. Protect and promote the rights of people with severe mental health conditions, including those living in institutions such as psychiatric hospitals, social care homes, and rehabilitation clinics for substance abuse. Establish referral networks between mental health specialties, general health care providers, community supports, and other relevant services like schools, social services, and emergency relief services. And building back better, mental health is crucial to the social and economic recovery of individuals, communities. After emergencies, and despite the adversity, they create emergencies. Emergencies also offer opportunities to build better mental health systems by leveraging the surge of aid and focused attention for long-term service development. Many countries have done just this, even in challenging circumstances. if you remember the situation of India in pandemic, where many countries, even the developed countries like US and China were struggling for vaccines and all. India has managed to cope up better than any other country. And India supplied vaccines, to all the countries, including US and most of the developed countries, including providing vaccine to the vast population in India, which is the second largest population. Now today, India stands the largest population in the world, crossing China also. So you can imagine what kind of leadership it takes. Within one's family only, we are not able to manage our family members and their requirements. And within community itself, we have a lot of struggles. Just imagine you being the position of holding the entire nation of 140 crores. Just imagine what is the kind of leadership that our Prime Minister had. You can never imagine the kind of efforts it has been taken unless and until you have been there. We can see, we can relate. If we cannot manage, hundreds or thousands of people, you can imagine that flight, the plight of crisis the leadership has been growing, going through with the growing challenges. What kind of situation they are and how to deal with. And India has proven itself to the world once again, in spite of crisis and emergencies also, we could bounce back. We have been very much resilient and building back together. And today, India stood fourth in the economy, most developed economy. In the ranking, we have stood the fourth most and rapid growing economy in the world. Keeping aside politics, of course, there are many people in India, those who don't do any work. Whole day they keep blaming, they are looking for white collar jobs, and whatever work is there, you have to take it up until you pursue another work. You cannot sit idle entire your life, blaming yourself or blaming others. That will not yield anything. In fact, you think about yourself first. You have a life to live and you should be productive, and no one is going to come and save you. It is your responsibility to save yourself, and it is your responsibility to utilize the resources and develop, and it is your responsibility to make yourself available to the world and offer your services. Then only, based on your services, people will start recognizing, and people will start appreciating, and people will start involving you, engaging with you, collaborating with you. Slowly you can grow up. So unless and until you yourself opens up, no one can come and lift you up. That also happens due to, sometimes there is a chance, there is luck, you are fortunate enough, but that doesn't come every day, right? We all have experienced in our life. So we have to be prepared for all such kind of crisis, and we should be resilient. We should be in the very first place to utilize the opportunities, not to exploit. We see some people who are very over ambitious or overconfident, and they often turn to exploit the opportunities. So that is not the way to utilize. You should always utilize, make best use of opportunities, but not to exploit or abuse opportunities or friendships or relationships or resources, anything, even it may be anything. We should always use it, not abuse it. We should leverage the benefits, not exploit it. If we exploit it, then take it for sure, take it for granted. It is going to hit you back at some place or sometime. So we should know between using and abusing. If we use, it is what it is required for our essential survival or for our basic needs. When we are exploiting the situation, product, or a person or a service beyond our requirements, that too depriving others with the same requirement, then you should be knowing that you are abusing that. Because everyone is looking for resources. Everyone is equally eligible. Everyone is equally looking for the resources. So we should not grab all the resources and keep with us unnecessary, right? Because other peoples are looking. So even we see unnecessarily, many people are occupying hospital beds, not going to homes, not getting discharged. But we see a lot of people's lying outside the hospitals, not even having a bed. And some, we have seen many in, private hospitals, there is no availability of beds. And in government hospitals, we see 2-3 people are lying on one single bed. And you see your entire ward is, the wards are flooded with, overcrowded patients everywhere on the beds, besides, behind, in front, back, everywhere. So you can imagine what is the kind of stress that we are putting on the infrastructure, right? And we should not also destroy the infrastructure. We see what is happening with the present situation, especially with the transportation systems, right? Especially with the introduction of many new facilities, but people are still abusing it. You should know we should be having some civic sense. So why we are talking is we are talking about mental health. Our environment in which we live has a positive impact as well as negative impact on us. Unless and until we are focusing on, the mental health aspects, we cannot, we don't need to, we need to, we don't need to isolate ourselves, or we don't need to exploit the situations, especially in the present day where, a country like India, where there is a huge transformation is required. We see a lot of metro stations, and people eating this gutka and, spitting each everywhere, every corner. What kind of civic sense is that? How many crores are being sent and how many staff are spent, and irresponsibly you are chewing tobacco or something, gutka or pan masala, and you don't have a minimum common sense, irresponsible citizen of the nation. You are just spitting on the roads and you are just spitting everywhere in the, railway stations and even in the trains. How much we are investing in the infrastructure? Whose money is that? A minimum common sense should be there for every citizen. It is not for someone else, every one of us. See, who is responsible? Who is cleaning? The other responsible citizen is cleaning the stations, right? Is cleaning the premises. Now, who is responsible? So much of irresponsibility of citizens itself. Basic common sense is required, which is lacking by majority of population. Unfortunate. We see many people even on the buses also, while traveling in public buses, transportation systems or trains. Many people, like this in trains especially, and in buses, they keep on eating while entire, they travel distance, and they keep all just, unpacking and just throwing everywhere within the buses and within the trains, nearby seat. You see how dirty they are. how unorganized everything. Before journey, see how the vehicles are, and just in the half of the journey itself, how the coaches or the buses become. Even that common sense is lacking. That is not for only literates or illiterates. Even literates are more uncivilized nowadays. They don't have. They are the ones who are not lacking common. They are the ones who are lacking more. Common sense, because they think that it is not their responsibility, it is someone else's responsibility, and they have every right to do whatever they want. Even recent things that are happening, even the most the highly qualified persons are making irresponsible statements. We have seen recent incidents that has sparked the entire nation. What is the use of holding such a position and such a high qualification when you don't have a common sense? What to talk, what to not talk, where to talk, how to talk. No, you should have a common sense when you are holding a position which is representing an entire nation. You cannot just, make a vague statement. And even after making that, you don't have a common sense to apologize also. That moral and ethical responsibility also, if you don't have, you can imagine what kind of trauma you are giving to the entire population. Because of your one comment, irresponsible, negligible comment you have made, targeting a community or targeting a religion, you have created a crisis for the majority of religion, majority of community. Now, who is responsible for that? You have to take responsibility. You don't have even a moral, ethical responsibility to apologize. I couldn't have said that, but it was just a slip of tongue, or, even not having a thought of at least, regret, or at least an thought of apologize. That conveys a lot about a person, right? Now, where is the common sense? Where is the ethics? Where is the morality? Now, how you can trust such a person? Can you trust him that he will be impartial? He is not biased. And he will be, subjective. So not only just that is, I am taking a recent example, but many such examples are there. We can take lakhs and lakhs of examples of such irresponsible. That's why I'm quoting here. The highly educated, highly qualified are the most irresponsible people, because always a position, a status comes with lot of responsibility. For them, especially the mental health is very, very important than a common man. If they are not mentally balanced, why we are talking about this is, if they are not properly managing themselves, then their impact is on large masses. Say if president does something, if prime minister says something, if chief justice says something, or if an important person who is representing the entire nation, if he is not mentally sound, or if he is not able to manage himself, his cool, imagine what kind of damage he can do to the nation as well as across the nation. Because it can impact the relationships, it can impact the environment, create a unfavorable environment, and create a lot of things. So that's why this is just an example. We might be thinking why this can be very important, but no, this is how it can affect, especially not only for common people, those who are, this mental health is very much important. Those who are highly qualified, those who are having high positions in the society, and those who are in power, those who have the authority and those especially who are holding very crucial positions. For them, it is very much important. Now you can see, I just quoted 1, 2 examples, or it can create a crisis. If a leader says, I cannot manage, you are on your fate. Imagine what kind of crisis it could have created. Like the recent, I can't do anything. It is all in the hands of God or something like that. If a leader who is in the, who is responsible for 140 crores of population, if he passes such a comment, just imagine what will happen to the fate of 140 crore population. You are in your way, you manage yourself. If a leader is saying that, imagine what will be the fate of every individual. Right? So that's why you have to take in a positive way. We are not blaming anyone, we are not pointing anyone. These are just few case studies. If you are in that, why we are taking these examples are to visualize yourself in such a position. I want every one of you to take their positions and imagine if you have to manage, if you could have been in that place, and also compare with what you are now, where you are now, what you are doing now, within your own family or within your own institution, and how you are able to manage with very, very, very couple, hands of people, few hands of people. And just imagine a huge population and you are heading the nation or heading, crisis, because everywhere there is a crisis. Because in the context of wars, we have seen everywhere there are wars, everywhere there is a hatred, especially religions which are converting others forcefully or using different propaganda and luring the people, and their, what kind of trauma they are using. Because, unless you will not be able to convert, unless you spread hatred, right? Only when they hate something, they are following, then only they will leave them, right? So to convert a person, so you have to make that person hate what he is into, he or she is into already. And what kind of hatred you are creating, hatred you are spreading, what kind of information you are giving, that is misinformation, disinformation, false information, propaganda, brainwashing. One is the war, we have seen war crimes. And second is, in the name of religion, these kind of conversions, missionary activities, that too with a hidden agenda of converting people by spreading hatred, filling their hearts with hate, jealousy, violence, like jihad, not everyone is doing. But in the name of jihad, you get, the heaven or hell, whatever it is, by killing people. If this kind of things are happening, what kind of message we are giving to the world? That doesn't happen. How much hatred he could have, especially terrorism. When we are talking about terrorism, killing oneself is a great sin. Now, how can you think of killing a person or yourself itself? Right? And how you can kill others, and that too huge numbers, that too vulnerable population, that is children, that is aged people, and those handicapped people, and the disabled, physically enabled. How you can think of hurting them? How you can think of killing them? How you can think of, disabling them, depriving them? and creating more crisis. So there is a lot of scope. Generally, when we talk about mental professionals, it's not that regular counseling, go have some, sessions in schools, communities, or put up a name board outside and call yourself as a counselor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a mental health professional or allied mental professional. Go beyond, those traditional fields. Now explore yourself. You have a hell lot of opportunities. Go beyond, break the barriers, see the new avenues in this mental health. And you should focus on those who are really highly qualified. Because as I mentioned, mental health professionals, they themselves have to manage themselves. Otherwise, they will create a lot of disaster in this world if they don't manage themselves. So mental health of mental health professionals is also very important. Mental health of highly qualified doctors, scientists, engineers, teachers, professionals. It may be software professionals, or it may be any other professional. It may be engineer, it may be a teacher, or it may be any profession. Whatever they are doing, every profession is equally important for the development of nation. Because without a holistic approach to development, from sanitation, from cleaning, morning dusting, cleaning the streets, till we go to the sleep again, if they are not clean, you can imagine what would be the plight of, spaces, public spaces. So every profession is equally important. From sweeper, sanitation worker, till the leader of the nation, till the prime minister, president, everyone's job is very much essential. And everyone has to work in harmony, in sync, in collaboration and cooperation. Then only the nation would develop. It's not like that one is going forward and others are pulling back. Unfortunately, the India is facing such a crisis as a nation. We see people who are always back. They don't do any good thing, but they are always back of people who are doing good things. These are always troublemakers. Unfortunately, they are also holding a very good positions with their own hidden agendas. Now, why we are discussing this? No, these are political issues, but they are the ones who are creating crisis. When we are talking about crisis and when we are talking about emergencies, why this emergency has come in place? We need to understand the causal factors of this emergency. Why this emergency is prevailing in the very first situation. What caused that emergency? What caused that crisis situation? These kind of factors create, first thing is deprivation of resources, opportunities, exploitation of resources, opportunities, then abuse that will lead to such a crisis, emergency situation, then conflicts, then wars, then this kind of forceful, conversion with misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda, in spreading hatred, creating hatred people within their for their own religion, for their own culture, for their own tradition, and creating a community, spreading hatred towards other communities, and trying to convert them, and trying to discriminating them, trying to abusing them. These all are violation of human rights, right? Every citizen can have to enjoy their human rights. Every human being is whichever, irrespective of their religion, caste, belief system, or wherever they are, which culture they belong to, which language they speak. But everyone has their own freedom of speech and expression. But in the name of freedom of speech and expression, you cannot hurt the sentiments of others. Then they will also get into argument and they will also say, I also have the freedom of speech. And you exchange these all kind of filthy words, vulgar language, abusing each other. That is not freedom of speech of expression, right? Is that? No. That is, creating an unrest. That is promoting, hatred. So all these kind of things, especially you need to be very careful what you are doing, how you are promoting these, all kind of things are very much important. Now, mental health, when we are talking about mental health, is not just a local issue. There are various factors for mental health. It can come from within individual. If individual is not self-satisfied, self-resilient, then he can create wars within himself. He or she can create conflicts within herself, himself, and create a war-like situation within her own environment, within his or her own environment. And that can reflect in the outer environment, the way that person can live. So all these aspects are there interrelated. So that's why building back better is very much essential. We have seen, Syrian Arab Republic, despite ongoing conflict, mental health and psychosocial support services have expanded beyond hospital-based care, are also now offered in primary and secondary health and social care facilities in more than 12 cities. So Sri Lanka also, we have seen the 2004 tsunami dramatically increased interest in mental health and national reform supported by World Health Organization to address staff shortages and decentralized care. Today, every district in the country has mental health service infrastructure compared with the third before the tsunami. And Philippines also after Typhoon Haiyan in 2013. 2013, World Health Organization and partners supported a major scale up of government mental health services in affected areas, training more than 1,300 community workers and healthcare providers across every general health facility in assessment management of mental health conditions. So World Health Organization works globally to ensure that mental health emergency preparedness and response is both coordinated and effective. And that after emergencies, all efforts are made to strengthen mental health services for the long term. So both are, very much necessary. And apart from that, what else can be the causes? Just take a minute to ponder. Just take a minute and you can put in chat box what else can be causes for this mental health crisis and what kind of emergencies or crisis it can create. We need response. Kindly be interactive. You can share it in chat box. You can send it to host and co-host. Don't worry about receiving or sending messages to others. Let's not create a crisis situation here. Let's concentrate on what is being said and what is being done. No thoughts or everything is covered. No new points to share. I have a lot of points to contribute. I'm just waiting for your response so that you can also contribute. Okay, then I will continue. You can continue to share. So, World Health Organization leads in providing technical advice on mental health in emergencies, operating in a range of countries and terrorists, and territories such as Afghanistan, Chad, the occupied Palestinian territory and Yemen. In 2024, World Health Organization and partners supported the Ukrainian MHPSS operational roadmap, coordinating more than 250 actors and national authorities to significantly scale up mental health services. In 2024, the World Health Assembly approved a resolution to strengthen MHPSS in all stages of emergencies and provide integrated quality mental health services which are accessible to all. It urges member states to implement that World Health Organization Comprehensive Mental Health Action Plan 2013 to 2030 and make long-term investments in community-based services and cross-sectorial coordination. So World Health Organization co-chairs the IASC MHPSS reference group, supporting organizations and technical working groups in more than 55 countries. Through this gap, World Health Organization also collaborates with the Standby Partners Network to rapidly deploy technical experts during the significant and complex emergencies. So World Health Organization also works with diverse partners to develop tools and resources, including the MHPSS minimum service package, which are widely used to improve the scale and quality of emergency mental health responses. World Health Organization also builds capacities for MHPSS, preparedness and disaster risk management, including by hosting global workshops that include first of their kind, full-scale multi-sectorial field-based multi-field-based or multi-sectorial field-based simulation exercises. And so, and when we look at refugee and migrant mental health, that is also nowadays a great issue that is going across the world. Even India is facing a lot of refugees, illegal immigrants in the nation, because we are already, there are many people who are already struggling. No, there is a lot of unemployment, and there is lot of there are huge number of people who do not have houses. There are people who are still dying with hunger, not able to feed themselves. So a lot of these issues are there. When more such illegal refugees and immigrants enter illegally, then they also need to be taken care, right? Though they are not taken care directly, indirectly they are also feeding on our resources, national resources. Means already every nation has limited resources. And we are not here discussing whether that is good or bad, but what we need to understand is already there are limited resources. And there are many people who are waiting for that resources. And additionally, there are people who does not belong to them, that place, who are not entitled to that resources. When they come here, they also share, because they share the land where they will live. They cannot live in the air, right? And the land is being shared with them. And water, they have to drink water, right? Without survival, they have to consume food, and they have to work for their survival. So what they will work for? Anything, even if they don't get any salary also. What they will do? They will do whatever work, because they have to feed themselves. They will say, you just feed us, give us 3 times food, we will work for you. Because it is the survival, right? Or you just give some space to stay, we'll work for free. Slowly, otherwise what will happen? The same opportunities where other person couldn't have, could have got by exploring such opportunities. But now what happens? Those also become part of the nation's responsibility. So already the burden increases. Now just imagine you have a family, right? You have a home with 5 members. Just an example. And all of a sudden, some strangers come into your home and they start sharing, living with you. You have already limited resources. You have planned for 5 people and you are sufficient. But suddenly imagine there is some guest, unwarranted guest, unwanted guest, uninvited guest. You cannot even call them as guest also, because someone just got into your home and one or more people, and they are living along with you. Now imagine what is going to happen to you. First of all, do you feel secure? You don't know who are they, where they have come from, what is their background, what they have done. So much of insecurity that prevails, whether to trust them or not, whether to provide them resources or not, because already you are in shortage. You are planning your future, you have a lot of your plans, and many of people already, they are also looking for a lot of resources, and you yourself are not able to help them. And in that situation, if someone who you doesn't know, they are coming and taking your resources, just keep the humanitarian aspect. Here also humanity is there. There also humanitarian aspect is there. But here the immediate need, unless and until you are capable of feeding yourself and you have enough to feed yourselves, you cannot feed others, right? You should be capable of yourself first. You should be resilient yourself, so that you should have enough resources, so that you can share your resources. Otherwise, what will happen? You both will become, unemployed. You'll both will fall into the same category then. Because whatever you share already, you are sharing equally. That means you are facing additional burden of resources. The demand for the resource doubles up and the prices go up, right? As the demand goes up, the supply should also go up, but it may not be possible always. The prices go up, and they might not be equally thinking like you, associated with, because they have come from some place and they might be also planning to go to a better place with better facilities. So who is affected? So they will leave you one day, and what all you did, what will happen? Your resources are exhausted, and because of them, you are landed. If you have landed in some crisis situation, then what will happen to you and your family? So generally, when we talk about all these political, leaders or political parties, they create a lot of hangama, because of their own, vote bank politics. But we need to understand everyone as an individual. If the same thing happens in our home, where we are living, or where we own it, when some 10 people or some unknown people come and try to, forcefully stay without any identity, without any, and they started sharing our, spaces, private spaces, secured spaces. Just imagine, and they are sharing our food, they are sharing our clothes, they are sharing our, all utilities. Just imagine how comfortable you are and what happens. You know, it's not that we should not allow them, but we should allow them in a proper manner. We should see whether we can afford or not. That is the very first thing, right? Even we have seen many times the most developed companies, they have closed their borders. Always they don't allow, because it's a huge burden. Even if the most developed countries think that these people are burden to them, how the underdeveloped countries or how the developing countries can accept such a burden? That is a common sense question I am putting to everyone, including me. Just imagine you are only self sufficient to feed your family members of five, say 5 members or so. Suddenly, you know, and you have some unknown people, and there are a lot of issues, so many, the entire dynamics change, environments gets into a crisis situation. Everyone is so unsure about their safety and security, privacy, confidentiality. And not only that, will you be comfortable with an unknown persons in their presence? Lot of psychological trauma, physical constraint, the same space being shared with them. And they might also dominate you if they are more powerful in strength or number. They may throw you out tomorrow, or they may make you slaves and they can become masters also. That is happening. We have seen many countries, right? If you read the history, if you look at the history, you know that many countries where few communities who have come as immigrants, they have become the majority there. It's We are not judgmental towards that should not happen or that should happen, but whether we can afford that or not, whether we are comfortable with that or not, whether we are able to manage that situation. At the same time, our first priority is to safeguard our own people, right? Existing population, we have the world's largest population, and within that population only, we need to take care of the entire population. We need to provide them food, we need to provide them clothing, we need to provide them shelter, we need to provide them health care, medical care, we need to provide them education, we need to provide them employment, we need to provide them entertainment, and we need to provide them safe environment. Same like in our own family, if someone enters. No, all these are equally important. Why we are discussing this is when we are discussing, on refugee and migrant mental health. So it is not only just refugees or, immigrants, whether they are illegal or legal, but what kind of, mental health issues they also face, and also the place where they are going, they are, illegally entering, they are also their challenges, right? We will also face, they will also face, right? So we should always be in their place, in their position to understand. We should be in their shoes to understand. But at the same time, we should be more realistic of what we can do, how much we can do. Otherwise, we will land ourselves into trouble. Now, if we also become like them, now who is going to save us? Right? You cannot go on giving, giving, giving. Tomorrow you will also become left with nothing. Now, who is going to come and feed you? What happens to you and your family? Okay, when you have become self-sufficient, then it's fine. Of course, there are also benefit of them because that's a cheap labor for many. That's why, they promote, they get, and they are not recognized. First of all, they don't get any identity because they are illegal immigrants. They are, made to work like bonded slaves because they are not registered. They don't have any valid ID card or recognition. So they are not considered a citizen. Even if they are caught, they are put in jail or they are sent back to their own countries. Right? So they have to work like slaves, bonded slaves. So they have to work with meager because otherwise they will say, I will, hand over you to the police or authorities. No, they are afraid. Again, they have to face the same situation from where they have all the way ran off from their own homes, own countries, own places. They don't want to go back because they might be killed there, they might be abused there, or they have, worse situations there. So they are exploited, or they come here and create, for their resources, they start killing people, they start, abusing, they start, all kind of robbery, dacoity, murders, and all because they need resources. How they will get resources? Right? Already resources are, there is a lot of scarcity of resources. So all these kind of problems are there. It's not that, you say, okay, hello, we are broad-hearted, but, where are the resources? These kind of situations also create crisis. We are not saying no. Okay, if we have to allow, then we have to make arrangements. So at the borders, we need to have a designated spaces like camps, immigrant camps. Then we need to take the support of that government and our government. Both the governments, or we also need to take help of United Nations and, international NGOs like, Red Cross or many philanthropists. And we need to properly recognize them, identify them, and make a proper documentation of them, how many are living, who are living, where they are from. And slowly, if there are situations where we can provide a better services, then slowly they have to be introduced. But it's not like that, like you come and mix up. We can see here, a lot of Rohingyas issues and all other immigrants who came from different countries like that, and who, they over a period of time stayed here, and they got all this through, right or wrong means. They have also got all the documents, and they are already a burden on the nation because they are also consuming resources and they are also multiplying, right? Only that number has not stayed stagnant, right? They are multiplying. They formed families, they are having children, and and again those children also have to be taken care by the nation, right? So their population is also increasing. Now, how do we provide food, clothing, shelter, education, employment to all these illegal immigrants, refugees, and they over a period of time they also become citizens of the nation? Now, already there is shortage of resources, there is shortage of employment, opportunities, a shortage of food and other things. Then how we have to see, how we need to understand. And just imagine here itself, there is such a situation. And if they are put in the mental health camps where we cannot provide five-star facilities there, right? Can we? No, said so all these rehabilitation or refugee camps will have bare minimum facilities. That means there will be more people, there will be less facility, bare minimum facilities, like slums. You see how slums are there? So almost equal to or more or less to the slum environment they will be having. Initially they will having better, but over a period of time it is not that easy. Again, the mindset, the civic sense or common sense also. See, over a period of time, they will also spoil that environment. I have seen many places where, that have term, initially there are all tents and everything set up nicely. But over period of time, they are no more less than a slums of, highly crowded, unhygienic, everything becomes because they are not, unfortunately, their situation also, they are not in a capacity also sometimes to, have that clean tidiness and other things in spite of shortage of resources. What I am telling is they will become more vulnerable, right? If they don't maintain the hygiene, what will happen? More diseases, right? So we know that there are limited resources or scarce resources, but still we need to maintain our personal health and hygiene as well as the public health and hygiene. It's very much important. Otherwise, if suppose some health issue comes, then entire refugee camp is affected. Now, what will happen? There is more demand for resources. Again, additional resources like medical health, medicines are required, professionals are required. There is an additional burden. So all these are aspects are there, especially when we are talking about refugees or migrants or immigrants, whether it is illegal or legal. These kind of, it is not only on the nation, but also at an individual level, at a camp level, if they are, legally entering, or if they are illegally entering, again, these kind of situations are there. Within the country, why there is lot of issues? We have seen many developing countries closing their borders and shooting dead. They are shooting off the refugees and many people are dead, injured. They don't allow crossing the borders. Why they are doing? Because it can become a serious threat, security threat also. Tomorrow they will start killing citizens of the nation. They will start robbing the nation, or they can become so vulnerable, and and who will be responsible for that? The government is responsible for its citizens. So you cannot just, already a lot of problems are there. Now, how you can invite new such problems? When you are not prepared, especially when you are not prepared, it can create a lot of issue for everyone. So all these we have to, we should not go by the false propaganda. Why this crisis comes in the very first place? We don't understand these nuances and we try to adopt an ideology. That's where these problems come up. When we subscribe to some ideology without understanding the nuances, consequences of that, okay, allow refugees or don't allow refugees. Blindly, we cannot, support a movement. You have to think, if you say allow them, then where are the resources? You need to make a proper plan. And they are not going to leave. The more facilities they get, they are going to settle here. And they are not going to stay like that. And they are going to grow. And they are not just limit themselves to 1 or 2 child. And that is also one more problem. There is a huge rapid growth of population, especially immigrant population. You see 4 to 5 children. See, here we have a rule, either 1 or 2, but they don't have that kind of restriction. You cannot enforce that. Because sometimes it becomes accidental, or sometimes a lot of issues, practical issues, ethical issues, moral issues. And just imagine, why we are discussing all these things is, it's very easy to criticize someone, it's very easy to pass a comment. But if you are in that situation, imagine what is going to be the plight, how you are going to react, how you are going to respond, whether you are going to respond or whether you are going to react. And even if you are reacting or responding also, you should be very careful, especially when you are occupying a highly qualified position, when you are in a higher status. You should be very careful. You cannot just talk like some common man and make a comment. Because tomorrow no one will say that Mr. X has said that Mr. or Miss Y has said that. They will attach the position. They will say the president of so-and-so country, the prime minister of so-and-so company, or country, the chief justice of so-and-so court, Supreme Court, or the judge, or the chief justice of, justice of some court, or president of such corporation, or CEO of such corporation. They will not just take Mr. X. They will also add that, because you are representing that, right? You are holding that position. So you cannot be so irresponsible, right? When you are holding position, that's why, you have authority. You have an obligation. More than power and authority, you are more accountable, more responsible. You are answerable to the entire nation or to your entire organization. You can't just say that that is my personal. And if you have to say that, then you have to first say that it is my personal opinion and then state it. And you have to take it very, careful in making such comments. Otherwise, it will become a statement of government, a statement of president for the entire nation, or for the entire, if say United Nations Secretary General has made something, then that will be deemed as for the entire 195 members, that is the entire world, or for the entire United Nations, right? It is implied. So there is, especially when people in public, like celebrities or professionals, or especially those who are in respectable positions, they cannot behave irresponsibly or negligibly, and they cannot do whatever they want, right? Because everyone is watching them. And when you are making a statement, you are making it a statement of your position, at a status, at the authority which you are holding. And that can convey a lot to the people. And that can create a crisis, an emergency situation, or a bias situation, or a situation of conflict, a situation of crisis. Why we are discussing all these? We are seeing day in, day out, how the mental health professionals, or how a common man, have to consider all these factors also. These are also very crucial factors. Why day in and day out we have one or other crisis? In the name of caste, in the case of reservation also, see, lot of caste-based, propagandas that are having dividing society, discriminating the percentage reservations, and also so many factors are happening. These are all also taking toll on mental health, right? We all are divided in the name of religion, in the name of caste, in the name of gender, in the name of color, in the name of height or characteristics, demographics, or cultural practices, or linguistic, features or languages we use, and by the education, and by the employment, by the occupation. So these all can create a situation of crisis, can create a situation of emergency if we don't properly manage them. All are required. We should understand that only when we all cooperate, when we all coordinate, and when we all together work as a team, then only there is a harmony and there is a development which will benefit everyone. Imagine, I will give you one more metaphor. Imagine, example, your entire body should grow evenly. What if only your one hand grows longer, and rest of the body remains as it is? Imagine what will happen. One leg is growing to 5 feet and other leg is there still stuck at 1 feet. What will happen? Just imagine. One leg is 1 feet and other leg is 5 feet. What will happen? So the growth should be evenly distributed across the body. In similar way, the growth also should happen across all sectors, across all domains, across all occupations. If there are no proper sanitation, that's why I'm telling, from sweeper to prime minister or president, everyone's role is important. Everyone's occupation is important. Everyone is equally responsible. Everyone is equally accountable to as a collective responsibility. We are talking about collective responsibility. Of course, everyone's status is different. That is perceived status, Otherwise, all are human beings only, right? No one is having extra hand. No one is having extra leg. Is someone having some extra hands? They are not gods to have 4 hands, 6 hands, 8 hands, 12 hands. Right? We all have 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth. Are we having some extra? Right? So we all have equal capabilities. Some may be more qualified, some may be more fortunate, or some may be more placed in a better situation. But it is very much important to understand we all are dependent on each other, and we need to collaborate, cooperate, and live in harmony. And not everyone becomes doctors, and not everyone will become engineer, not everyone will become teacher, or not everyone will become a scientist or a software engineer, or a sweeper, or a hair barber. Not everyone will become everything. Now this is based on, it's not that everyone cannot become, it's based on their interest or chance, or sometimes choice, chance. But everything is important. All are important. We need to understand that all are equally important. Only when we know that, everything is equally important, because we are interdependent on each other, and it is also important to respect them as well as, collaborate and cooperate with them. Only when we all are in harmony, that development will be possible. When we understand that, the entire environment changes. Why we are discussing this is to create an environment where we all can live in harmony, peace and harmony with collaboration and cooperation. Then there is no stress, right? When there is no discrimination, there is no stress. Like we all can come together. We know importance of each other, and we need to collaborate and cooperate. Then only we all can live happily. So in that sense, in that case, we are aware that we not create a crisis situation. We should not create a crisis situation. We should not create a conflict situation. We should not spread hatred, jealousy, or envy on any particular person or community or religion. So this is all created by only such people who have hidden agendas. They are not bothered about anything. Their only agenda, they have one agenda and they will work for that agenda. Even at the cost of lives, even at the cost of everything. Only those, that's why you should be very well aware of that kind of people, that kind of community, that kind of belief system, that kind of religion, or whatever it means. Whichever is not good for you, good for your physical health, good for your mental health, you should try to get rid of it as early as possible. Then only your mental health and physical health will be good. Otherwise, if you keep struggling with that, your entire life you will be suffering. Why we are discussing is all these things are, these are things that are happening day in, day out. You cannot avoid them. Wantedly or unwantedly, or interestingly, uninterestingly, willingly or unwillingly, we are being exposed to such things in our day-to-day lives. So it all are, these kinds of things are all part and parcel. So in spite of all these adversities, we have to stay calm, maintain our cool, and we have to be resilient and set within our resources. We have to do our SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, threats and opportunities. Accordingly, we need to see our capabilities also, skills, what we are good at, what we know, what we can do, look for the opportunities. And be in harmony. Don't be in competition with everything. The first competition comes within ourselves. By comparison, someone is better than me, someone is, that comparison itself creates a lot of competition. Okay, let it be. Why you have to worry if someone is like that or like this? Especially in a negative connotation. Oh, as long as you are having food, clothing, shelter, a family, and you are self-sufficient. Not that if you give the entire world to you also, you will still be thinking of acquiring Mars or Jupiter or, human is like that. There is unlimited, you cannot, even if you get entire world also, you'll be thinking, what else I can get? Because that keeps driving human crazy, to do something. Otherwise, if you are self-satisfied, self-contented, say suppose a person like me, okay, whatever is there, fine, no need to, do all kinds of circus everywhere. So what I will do, I will stay, okay, this is enough for me. As long as I am getting 3 times food, as long as I am having something to wear, as long as I am productive, contributing to something, that's fine for me. If I think like that, then I'm self-satisfied, I'm self-contented, right? I will not think I'm the most happiest person on the earth. Right? I don't have any conflicts, anyone in the door. Okay, even if Ambani, Adani, or some other richest person, Bill Gates also come, or some other person also can, I will be happy. Right? I will not be jealous. I will not be envious. I will be happy talking to him with open heart. okay, whatever with I am happy. And whatever he is there, okay, I'm also happy for him also. That he is happy at least with whatever he wants to or she wants to. Now that's where the happiness is. Whatever you have, you be with happy with that. Otherwise, you can never be happy. Now again, don't create within. Why we are discussing is this, we are talking about inner environment, outer environment. Unless and until you are happy from within yourself, no one can make you happy. Of course, there are other external factors that make you happy, but only temporary. That they are temporary. As long as they are there, you'll be happy. Again, when they are gone, you'll be unhappy. Now, that happiness comes from self-contentment. When you should be happy with whatever you have. That is the first thing. If you are happy with whatever you have, then no matter what happens in the world, you will be not affected. At least to that extent, you keep yourselves into a crisis emergency situation. You put yourselves into such a situation. So I will not take much time. I can talk for hours together, days together. That's a different thing. But we have time constraints, and I think we have also presenters waiting. So we will also discuss on 26th. We have another session on 26th October. So we will invite speakers, at least a few speakers today. Just let me allow to check the messages. Okay, Pradeep, are you there? Okay. So, Mr. Pradeep, we'll take one presentation because of time already. We have exceeded. It's not like, we are exceeding or we are generally we extend. It starts from 6 p.m. onwards and it goes on. But due to other engagements, we have started a little bit late. But we will try to end in another, a half an hour or hour or so. So we have Mr. Pradeep with us. He is an animal welfare activist. He is working for animal welfare and rights. He is very compassionate soul. Because he is working for the voiceless, who cannot come represent themselves. So such a great soul. People. There are people who have voice, like many people who can talk, can express, but still they are not able to express. And especially there are other species apart from humans. There are more than 4 million species, right, on the planet. Among them, humans are just one species, and we are destroying the entire world, and many species are suffering because of us. But they are all contributing for us, unfortunately. Or fortunately. No, they are very fortunate. But we are the unfortunate ones because we are exploiting them and we are killing them, we are making them extinct, and because of that there is imbalance in the ecosystem and we are suffering. Ultimately, that karma will not leave us. And no matter whether you directly associated with or indirectly, that's why whatever resources, even it's come for cheap, you should not use plastic, especially single-use plastic. Or you might think, I can afford one polythene cover, I can just buy, 20 rupees of 100 disposable covers. You can afford, but it's going to be very costly for you and the environment. because that is not going to be decomposed for another thousands and lakhs of years. So try to use, if at all you have to use, try to use alternative products, and don't just generate waste unnecessarily. Everyone has a responsibility. Consume responsibly so that you don't generate waste unnecessarily. Whatever is, even if anything has to be used, ensure that it is reusable for longer periods, so that this every time that single use is avoided and lot of waste is, lot of waste generation is there. Otherwise, where that will waste will go? Again, it will create a lot of sanitation. But today, we see the entire body is filled with microplastics, microfibers. There are reports that it is in blood, it is in sperm, and it is in eggs, and it is in bones. Day before yesterday, I have read an article that it is also in bones, microplastics, microfibers. It is in brain. So where it has not reached, and who is responsible for that? Human beings. That's why we are the most notorious criminals on the planet. We ourselves create a whirlpool of crisis and we keep worrying. So don't do that, at least conscious. So I invite Mr. Pradeep to take over for his session. He has more than a decade experience. We welcome you, Pradeep, to take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravindra sir, for a wonderful introduction. A very good evening, one and all. On behalf of Sri Holistic Health Foundation of India, we welcome you all to this international webinar on Mental Health Day. So till now, Ravindra sir has spoken very well spoken about role of mental health and others and the importance of mental health. So now I'm going to talk about the role of pets for coping mental health. So nowadays we have seen pets have become a part of our life and they are becoming a family also. So pets play a vital role in coping mental health. As if we talk about them in physically, they can reduce the blood pressure, and at the same time they also reduce the cortisol levels, so which is a stress hormones which in the body. So they reduce the cortisol levels. At the same time, if you have any furry dogs or cats, petting them will release the oxytocin, which is a feel good hormone. So at the same time, furthermore, we talk about pets, how they can cope the mental health. The first thing is they fight loneliness. Pets provide unconditional love. It's very true fact, and it can only seen through one. We can experience it, and at the same time, they are the true companionship. So talking to them, or maybe just sitting with them, not talking with them and playing with them, caring for them, creates a sense of connection, especially for those who live alone. As Ravindra sir also stated, earlier we used to have a new joint family system. Nowadays, we have a nuclear family system, and everyone is for everyone. They are like they lost sense of connection because of their work or in technology advancements, whatever reasons could be. And moving further ahead, pets boost emotional stability. So as we go on, once we choose a pet, we have to feed it, right? We have to feed them, and we have to take for a walk, and grooming will be there. And it will actually builds a structure for our, or it will establish a routine in our daily life. So whenever you wake up in the morning, okay, I have to feed this dog, okay, I have to take him for a walk, and it will definitely become as your being. and you have to do that it will become a routine part of your life. And caring for pet gives sense of purpose, like it will gives you some sense of purpose. So and it also helps to overcome sadness or depression. Nowadays we are seeing that many of 1 in 5 people suffer from mental health problems. So having a pet which will give you sense of responsibility, and it will also develop the routine, a positive routine. So at the same time, uh, we are going further ahead. Pets improve social connection. If you can see, if someone has a pet, and so what actually happens is whenever we take a pet to your veterinary clinic, so you actually have happen to talk with other pet parents or any other like-minded people. So it will develop some sort of a networking and sort of connections, new people, new interactions. Even if you go for any park spaces, I mean, you are taking your dog for a walk, a small walk, so neighborhood people will recognize you and ask you how, oh, the dog looks good. So how is it a good, is it a friendly dog? So normal chit chat conversations will be there. So basically, it also helps someone with shy or anxious individuals to connect more easily with others. Uh, at the same time, pets help to recover from mental health. Like most of the times in therapy, animals have been used. It may be dog, it may be cat, maybe horses, and sometimes it may we use actually seen fishes also. So in schools, hospitals, and workplaces, and you might have seen some airports in India also, where busy airports will be there. Some dogs will come and sit over there, Labradors or any golden retrievers. Even nowadays, many Indian dogs are also be there. So just the people go and just pet them, and they feel happy around it. They are very non-judgmental. They don't judge you like human beings. So only sense of pure love they will be there. And as I told you, many therapy animals nowadays have been using in the hospitals, many places where people suffer from a lot of physical ailments, and at the same time dealing with the health problems. Some and people will go for a depressing state. So in order to get them back to the therapy, animals play a pivotal role about it. Emotional support for animals, we call it as ESA, help people with coping with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety. Pets also encourage physical activity. Like when you talk about pets, especially dogs, they encourage regular walks, play, and
I think there is some network issue. Let's wait a moment for Pradeep to connect back. I think there is some connectivity issue. Okay, so anyone, if you have any queries till whatever you have discussed, or anyone would like to share your observations, you are free to share, free to share in chat box, or you can raise your hand. Anything related to this session, don't ask which is not relevant to this session, like certificates and all, that we will take you, we will tell you at the end. No need to worry about that. Anything related to mental health or various topics we have discussed. See, generally there is all kind of those technical kind of which is there in the material. I can give you psychosocial theories and all those things, all theories, strategies, therapies, and all that are all there. Even if you Google it, also you'll get it. That is routine, mundane things that we are talking about. But more importantly, we need to talk about what is already there, but what we are not actually implementing. A lot of preaching happens everywhere, but no one is practicing actually. That's a problem. And it's not that others should do it. We ourselves, everything should start within ourselves. As long as we are not mentally sound, as long as we are happy, we are contented, we will not be promoting that. Yes. So we should be happy in the very first place. Then only we will be able to contribute. I think Pradeep has joined. Yeah, Gansham Jasti.
Yes, sir. I want to tell about something about happiness.
Yeah, please.
In Hindi, खुश रहने के वैज्ञानिक रहस्य हार्मोन्स के स्राव द्वारा। डोपामिन हार्मोन किसी कार्य को पूर्ण करने से संतोष जो आता है उसको डोपामिन हार्मोन जनरेट होता है। सेरोटोनिन हार्मोन, एंडोर्फिन हार्मोन, हंसमुख माहौल रखना, संगीत, व्यायाम, टहलना, कृतज्ञता का भाव रखना, इससे ये हार्मोन्स जनरेट होते हैं। ऑक्सीटोसिन हार्मोन जोशपूर्ण ढंग से मिलना, हाथ मिलाना, आलिंगन करना जैसे व्यवहार, इससे ऑक्सीटोसिन हार्मोन जनरेट होता है। खुशी से संबंधित हार्मोन्स को सशक्त बनाएं, सकारात्मक सोच, स्वस्थ आदतें अपनाएं, दूसरों के जीवन में सकारात्मकता बढ़ाएं। धन्यवाद सर।
बहुत बढ़िया, धन्यवाद। आपका विचार रखने के लिए और आपका जो ये इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करने के लिए
धन्यवाद सर।
हाँ, तो जब ये I don't want to get into all these neurotransmitters, chemicals in this session especially. And thanks that you have taken up and you have made this session complete with your value addition. Why we are not discussing all these things is, especially these all are day in and day out. We all are talking about all these complex things, but coming to reality, we are not, somewhere we are not in reality. There is a lot of disconnect between ourselves and, others, and in reality practice and others. Like Ghanshyamji has said, we are aware. We are aware of a lot of information, but we are not using that information. Only when that information is transformed into knowledge, and that knowledge is synthesized, that knowledge is put into action, then action, not just physically, but also into the mind, it has to come into action. Then it comes into physical action. Then that becomes wisdom. That is not just information, that is a union of mind, body, and soul, the integration, the synthesis at these three places, and the overall production that comes out of that. The gist of the practical, the gist of the reality, the gist of the theory, what our ancient sages have said. Because of that only we are able to carry out this kind of knowledge with us. These all have been talked extensively in our ancient scripts, but how many are reading our Vedas, Upanishads? No one. Mostly no. The present generations, how many they are reading? That means we are becoming ourselves ignorant. We are keeping ourselves ignorant from our own ancient traditional knowledge, which is today the Vishwa Guru for entire world. Everyone is, even the Islamic countries are doing research on Vedas. Even the Christian countries, are doing research on Vedas. But what we are doing, being a Hindu country, what the present generations we are doing, majority of the population. How many of you, not only you means including me, not just on the platform, but how many of us are daily reading Bhagavad Gita, or at least once in our entire lifetime? How many of us we have read the entire Bhagavad Gita, or entire Ramayana, or entire Mahabharata? At least have you watched at least once? So this is a kind of, if we say, have you watched Pokemon? Many hands will come. The present journey. If I ask if you have watched Spider-Man, Iron Man, Iceman, or Power Girls, and cartoons or rhymes. But where is that kind of information? Unless and until you read Bhagavad Gita, unless and until you understand, you can never become a good counselor. A lot of strategies are there in Bhagavad Gita, right? Lord Krishna has given to Arjuna. If you just read that, if you no need to study anything, just study Bhagavad Gita, just study Ramayana, just study Mahabharata in whatever form it is. That is more than enough. No need to study psychology, no need to study any course. You will understand what is life. You have all the characters. You can't say that this character is not there in Ramayana, this character is not there in Mahabharata. This situation is not there, this strategy is not there. You can find n number of situations, n number of characters. You have seen we have the most heinous characters to the most godly characters. You can't even imagine now, whatever is happening, we are getting astonished. We might be getting astonished about, this also happens. Right? No, that has already happened long back. But we don't know. It is not new, anything that is happening. Lot of things have been happened long back, but we are not aware of them. Right? When we are not aware of them, we think that it is new. So we are not learning lessons from the past. So entire knowledge, wisdom has gone waste. Now we have started, there is a wheel already, which was invented. And from that wheel, today we have invented many cars, mobiles, and today we using that wheel, we have generated spaceships, spacecrafts, using the technology of wheel, principles of wheel. But again, we are somewhere trying to invent the wheel, trying to design the wheel, reinvent the wheel. Why we need to reinvent? There is lot of already wheels that have been already long back invented. You just use it, consume it, create new things. Already you are creating, and all these theories, psychological theories, all have been copied only. All these proponents are wonderful copycats. When you will be able to say that these are wonderful copycats? Only when you know our own language, knowledge, right? As long as you don't know what is already there, how you will say that whatever is there in the present is already there in the past? See, this is what happens to, especially when you are ignorant of your past, the ancient glory, you think that this is new thing. But only when you know your past, when we know about our ancient knowledge system, then we know that these are all great copycats, all, branded in a new packaging, in a new way, more complex way, without understanding what it was. Now that's why these new diseases are coming, new disorders are coming, new lifestyles are coming, because without understanding they implement. And to that extent, to some extent, that is good. They are modifying that. Without proper understanding what that is, they are modifying according to their whims and, own agendas. That is creating more problems. Today, why we are discussing about regeneration of planet? In last 300 years of modern science, we have destroyed more than 4 billion years of planet. Just 300 years, more than 4 billion years of planet. It didn't even take 50 years also, 500 years also to destroy the planet. See, that is the point where without blindly, if you do something, then that is what is going to happen. So you need to understand. When you will be able to understand, not just by reading one book and rewriting that with your own, all kinds of rubbish into that. Now we see there is a pandemic of publishing that is happening, unfortunately. How many, we are not even reading the great books, Vedas are lying there, Upanishads are lying there, Ramayana is lying there, Bhagavad Gita is lying. Those are, sciences of sciences. They are lying there, and who are going to read all the trash which is being published here? They are all like, citing each other, promoting each other, self-boosting only. Who is going to read all those trash in coming days? When human beings even doesn't exist. You have already destroyed the entire world. And how long humans will continue to survive like this? Definitely, in coming next few decades, humans will become extinct. No doubt about that. Because today human beings have become a huge threat for the planet itself. Definitely nature will strike back. If it has to, take an action on humans, instead of so many species getting extinct, humans are also just one species. No, for the well-being interest, if you are in a planet's place to safeguard planet, what you will do? You will just pick out the most notorious species on the planet and throw away so that the entire planet will flourish. So the natural choice will take over, and like dinosaurs, many species got extinct, right? Which we have seen also. Many species which we have seen in our childhood are no more now. So don't think that humans will stay forever on this planet. Humans were not there forever on this planet. Humans came in the middle and they will also become extinct soon. But don't take anything for granted. That is a problem. We have taken ourselves granted and we have made ourselves superior to all the species, and we think that we We are the rulers of entire planet. We are the rulers of entire species on the planet. That's where we are digging our own graves. And with this, we are creating a crisis situation. We are creating a emergency in this world. So that is what, Pradeep is talking about, taking care of animals. Pradeep, can you continue so that you can conclude?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry for the technical section, sir.
Yeah, that's why I was not sharing, because I see that there is low bandwidth. So anyway, you can continue without PPT. No problem.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. So until now, before I have discussed about the role of pets and their role in coping with mental health. So in the coming presentation, so as I to mentioned about, so how we have to choose a pet, because uh, some might be not suitable for our households. So, for example, if a household having a small house, so they want to get a dog like a Great Dane, so they can't keep in their house because the house is a small one at the small place. At the same time, the animal also requires physical needs, like it has to go out and roam around. At the same time, it has to have a mental level, like how we have emotional needs. The animal also will have a emotional needs as well. So they cannot keep in l- larger breeds like Great Dane, Saint Bernard, and they are not also relatively they are not suitable for our Indian climate because they are foreign breeds. Unlikely, they most of the breeders they sell these dogs as a they sell these dogs, and they these dogs doesn't know, like they have been separated from their mother and they experience a lot of trauma and pain, and the people who brought these dogs, they're not able to manage them because they don't know about how to what are the needs and what are the considerations for these animals and how to raise them properly, and what is the climatic condition it is suited them. Some actually keep these animals in the soaring sun. So these animals are like kept in a cool conditions where what actually they will do is they keep the animals outside as thinking like that. Okay, I bought a pet and it is a like a toy. So they do all these things. So before if you are going to adopt any pet, choose your environment first. So whether it is coping for our needs, at the same time whether it is beneficial for the animals, because if you got a pet, if you are not taking care of properly, ultimately you are indulging in the suffering of the animal itself. So rather than doing that, check within yourself, okay, whether we can't take care of it properly or not. So there are pets means you cannot you can only not fix to cats and dogs also. There are, you can also get fishes also. They occupy very small space. At the same time, nowadays they are coming with automatic feeders. If you are a working professional, if you can't accommodate much of their time, even if your family members are all working, you cannot take care of it. You can get a fish tank where you can see them. You can all in that way also you are helping the animal. And if you are if you are someone who is uh, a student, you cannot spend much of the time with the animal because due to the classes and all. So maybe you discuss with your family members whether we can take it properly or not. So these things these can be well explained if you adopt a pet from an animal welfare organization or any one of the people who fosters those animals. So they actually get to know about the behavior of the dog. If we talk about the dogs and cats, they know about the every behavior, what does its dietary needs are, what are actually its physical needs, and how many times we have to take a what, and what are its vaccination, no? When we need to vaccinate, and when we need what are the grooming, how many times we have to take it for a grooming. So these all needs can be well explained by the animal welfare organization. At the same time, adopting a pet, you are actually saving a life. Many times, if you see in animal shelters, a lot of the times the animals, dogs, especially dogs or any cats, they get overcrowded, and some are they do not get adopted. In many Western countries, we have seen that many of the they even uh, get euthanized. So, but in India, we don't have that situation. But if you got a pet from the animal shelters, or if you adopt from a street, you're giving if you're giving that animal a life. At the same time, they also are you're getting unconditional love, which where you cannot get from buying an animal or any other things. So that is very much important. If you talk about the figures, so about 80 million, as per the Mars survey, which has mentioned 80 million stray animals every time they have been going, and more of them shelters also. There are a lot of animals who are looking for just love, care, and compassion. And if you can adopt from their shelters, you're just making a difference. You're making a difference in the life of the animal. So what are the things which is required, like after we adopt a pet, what are the things we require? First thing is the behavioral things. See, when you adopt a pet, like for example, if you adopt a child from a child care house or central government adoption agency Kara, so the child will not get immediately attached to you, right? It will take some time. It will take some time for socialization, getting adopted to the environment. So similarly, here in the same case, when you adopt a pet, it will take certain time to get accustomed and get adjusted. So you need to understand the behavior of the pup. I mean, usually pups or even grown-up dogs. You understand the behavior, what actually it is. So they will tell you, like when you're out from the animal for organization or individual persons, they will tell you like this behavior it will do it. So they will explain you each and everything, and they will help you with that. Like if you have any problem and all, they will tell you, okay, you can do this. So so behavioral aspect we should be taken care. At the same time, what are the physical needs? What are the physical needs like food, water, and shelter? It should be kept in a very hygienic place where it should be very neat, and that you need to take care of it so that you should be free from fleas, ticks, and other parasitic infections. And proper grooming will be have to be taken care. For Indian dogs, it doesn't matter. They are very short haired and doesn't much grooming have and clean. That means not much grooming is necessary. But if you take any breeds like a Labrador, Golden Retriever, anything, so they need grooming. So the hair, otherwise the hair gets knotted and they'll get a lot of infections and all. So you should ensure that proper grooming should be done. And finally, veterinary checkups. Veterinary checkups are very much essential to ensure the health and well-being of the pet. If they are happy, you will be also happy. So, uh, vaccinations are very much important. Which they play a vital role. For usually, if it's a pup, for after 45 days, you can give the first shot of vaccination, that is anti-rabies vaccination, and also the 7-in-1, 7 disease, one vaccination we can give that as per the veterinarian suggestion. They will give the vaccination, and they will also tell you like what foods we have to give. Don't think that your dog will, I mean, any pet will eat the human foods. Some foods which are consumed, some foods cannot be given to pets, like chocolates or any other apple seeds. So these, even grapes. so they cannot be given to the pet animals. So they become a toxic for them, and most of them they'll suffer from gastrointestinal problems too. I'm not a vet, but I'm seeing the certain situations where people actually feed the pets with chocolates and other things, and they call me and say that we have feeding the chocolate and to your dog, and with it is having some problem. What should we have to do? And I'll suggest that please go take it to the doctor, veterinary doctor, for immediately. So the vet will give the proper treatment. So instead of doing that, there will be foods which the pets has to be eaten, and there will be foods which will not be eaten. So, so certain foods are pets are allergic to it, so we should not do that. And every time we need to have a proper grooming of it, and proper vaccination has to be taken care. And finally, emotional support is very important. Just that you got a pet dog, or just that you got a cat, just that you got a horse or anything, if you are not providing, you are not giving the love, care, and affection, then it is no, because they are also, it's just that they are not human beings. You will not provide the emotional support. So you have to ensure that once in a while you're taking care of them, going for a walk, having a small talk with them. So they provide unconditional and bundle of joy. There is no doubt about it. Once you experience that joy and care, then you will get to know about it. So the only thing we as a human being is we should be a little bit courteous and kind and compassionate towards them. And finally, what I would like to say is adopt a pet, don't shop it. There are many homeless animals which are struggling every day for food, water, and also they are suffering from a lot of abuse, torture. So if you can adopt a pet, you are giving a life for them, and at the same time they will also in return they give you bundle of unconditional love and joy. With that, I am ending my presentation, and thank you, Ravinder sir, for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Pradeep. It was very well presented. That is why, we need to take care of our environment also along with. And by making environment, nature, other species part of our life, we can also enhance our lives and productivity of life, meaning of life, purpose of life also, gets nourished. Very well presented. We congratulate you and wishing you all the success for your future endeavors. And also we thank all the participants for joining us, taking valuable time. And on 26th, we will have extensive, more of technical, like I will discuss on various psychological theories, interventions, and, empirical based solutions and evidences, where we will discuss about what theories, chemicals, and all, whatever you want, jargon, I will give you. And we'll also talk about some solutions. So hope you all have enjoyed. But at the end of the day, I would like to conclude saying that, we all need to find our purpose of our life, why we have come on this planet. And we should make a meaning of our life before we leave. We should always leave a meaning, a message to others. Why we have come and what we have did before leaving. If you have done that, then that is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself. So with this simple message, I would like to say that everything is interdependent. Everyone is interdependent. So let's all live in harmony with each other, appreciate with each other, cooperate, collaborate with each other, and have a happy life together, promoting mental health and well-being of everyone, all the species, not just human beings, even animals and the environment also. So we request everyone to fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. And if you have any, suggestions or recommendations or any questions, you can use this form, feedback form. In that there is a column where you can enter your queries. We'll get back to you. And certificates will be provided in a week's time. The same link which you got when registering. All of you might have registered through Google form and you have got a copy of your responses. You can also find the website link from where you can download your e-certificates. Those who have filled the registration form and those who have filled the feedback form in Zoom and have minimum attendance, they will be getting the participation certificate. So the feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. So we request everyone to fill the feedback form before you leave the platform. There is no link it is in the form of polls and quizzes. It is automatically, you can see them. If you have accidentally closed, then you can visit the quizzes and polls option. In the menu, in the Zoom menu, you have the options like audio, video, participants. You can see right in your Zoom menu. There you can see an option saying polls or quizzes. If you can't see directly, it may be hidden in more because there may be due to screen. If you have a smaller screen, especially if you are attending in mobiles, you may not see the full menu, so you can use more options. There is one option in the menu, more. When you click on that, you will be able to see polls and quizzes. When you click on that, you can see the active poll. Generally, it is all not required. It is directly accessible. If you have accidentally closed, especially that happens with touch screens, you're not active on the screen. Or even after that, you are not able to access, you can just sign out and sign in. Immediately, you will be getting that screen form to fill it up. You can fill the form. So see you all again on 26th. Take care. Good night. And wishing you all happy World Mental Health Day. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link, with different commemorations and celebrations. Take care. Good night.